been 6 years since we last had something like this at an Apple event.
We do have one more thing.
Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Tuvia and we talk all things marketing, product and tech. I know I've been a bit MIA in the last few months, but that's for good reason. My wife's just given birth to twins and we're over the moon, but it's time to get back on the horse and give you what you want. So WWDC has just wrapped up and boy did we get a whole heap of things, from new macOS, iOS, tvOS, and of course that super cool Apple Vision Pro piece of hardware, to of course Apple finally introducing the M2 to the Mac Pro. We got a whole heap of things in over a massive 2-hour event. But today we're not so much going to be talking about all the things that Apple announced, but rather we're going to look at something a little more subtle, the art of event marketing. Something which Apple has done super well, specifically over the last few years and specifically since COVID. Under the guise of a developer conference, WWDC is probably Apple's largest event-based marketing activity that Apple does each year. This one, of course, was no different, but there was one major thing which everybody knew, and they made sure that if you wanted to be at something which could be potentially generational, you got to be at WWDC. We saw the likes of someone like Mr. Who's the Boss to Sarah Peachy, all our greatest and loveliest YouTube creators go to the event, and they put out some great videos to date, but they all wanted to be there in person because they knew that this WWDC would be massive. And of course, this was not by chance. Apple knew exactly what they were doing. They let the rumor mill run wild. They did not approach it, did not say anything, did not do anything like this or like this, thanks Google. But because of the rumor mill, everybody knew this was going to be huge. We even had the head of Marvel Studios, Kevin Feige, come to the show. But what exactly was Apple's play here? And how can me and you, as marketers, product managers, and business owners, learn from Apple's beautiful event marketing process? There's a hint. It's all in the process. Let's have a chat about it. So it's all about the process. What does this exactly mean? When you're putting on an event, and specifically when you're using events to market any product, be it a new product or something that you already have in your lineup, super important that everybody knows what they're in for. But here's the thing, Apple never leaks anything. But we all know way before what's gonna happen at these events, and we're all very keen to get a glimpse of what these products are. There are so many leaks that happen, so many YouTube comments, so many media outlets that say, these are the rumors, this is what's coming, and yet Apple never debunks any of them. In fact, they actually rely on them. Apple wants to build engagement, build awareness, really want their customers or their proposed customers to be engaged with these events. They could easily just put out a statement saying, at WWDC 23, you'll see the new and improved products in AR and VR and mixed reality. But they don't, because they want you to be engaged, wanting more, wanting to come to the event or watch the event so that you can be part of history and really drive the most engagement and hype possible. We see this with iPhones every single year. You get models and mock-ups and cases that come out. Apple lets YouTubers review these things, give their insight on them, and this kind of hype only builds more engagement and more drive. And that really has been the Apple way for so long. For us, however, in our businesses, we may not be able to create such hype given our budgets or just given the scale that Apple has. So what do we do? Well, it's probably not as subtle as what Apple can do, but it's just as effective. If you're bringing something out that's new or you want to reintroduce something back in, spread the word like wild cakes. You know, often we just think to ourselves, I don't want to let everybody know what I'm doing. I'm scared someone's going to copy me. But at the end of the day, it's all about execution. Just like Apple executes their events to the T, so too can you. Just make sure that whatever you deliver to your customers, be it from introducing a new flavored muffin to introducing a whole new product that will surprise and delight your customers, it's bang on, does something special, and really creates this demand. And really this leads me to my second point. Under promise and over deliver. The art of surprise and delight. You know, the main product at this show definitely was the Apple Vision Pro. And if you didn't know that, compare the other hour and 20 minutes that they spent on 6 other devices, 4 other OSs, to the 40 plus minutes that Apple has spent talking about the Apple Vision Pro. And in reality, this device can do a whole heap of things. This is probably a project that's been going on between 5 and 8 years. So Apple really wanted to drive it home, hit that home run to make sure that every single potential customer knows exactly what it does. And really, they broke it down into 3 major use cases. You've got the main media consumption device, from watching all your movies, potentially thinking you're in a huge IMAX theater, maybe even watching this IMAX theater sitting by a lake, to playing games, being fully immersed with a controller whilst playing the games. That's one. Second use case, multitasking and productivity. You can have multiple screens, you can look at different things all the time, drag and drop, use a physical keyboard and mouse to help you build that productivity process. A real great workhorse. And the third one is really a communications tool, from FaceTime to messages, and I'm sure all other third-party apps will be introduced. So this can be a key communications device. But those are the 3 use cases that Apple showed us. And it's the things that Apple didn't show us that maybe have the largest potential. We obviously got a hint of what they're doing with Unity and things like Disney being totally immersed and creating that interactivity with consumers. We even saw things like how they're going to build new architectural designs and models so that people who want to see their thing come to life before it's actually produced. But there were a lot of use cases that were missing, and I think that was deliberate. It's also why Apple gave us a 6-month lead time before this product will be introduced early next year, because they want developers to build the killer apps, the surprise and delight apps that they know that they can do. For me, I'm not the biggest gamer in town, but I've always dreamed of flooding through something like the Pokemon world, collecting Pokemons and Pokeballs and really being immersed. I'm not sure how they're going to do that from a tactile perspective, potentially using your Apple Watch to give you those haptics. But if they can build you being part of that world, all fully surrounded, that is huge from a scenario and from a use case. There are certainly other things like sitting at a university, sitting courtside by an NBA game or any other game that you like. These things can be so immersive and so worthwhile that this device can actually be worth the massive price point that it has. But more on the price a bit later. So what does this mean for us? Well, it's the element of surprise and delight as well. We may not be able to produce super expensive, well-made items, but what we can do is surprise and delight our customers in little subtle ways that will leave them wanting more, coming back to us over and over again. From something like when somebody orders a coffee in a coffee shop, adding just a small piece of cake so that they know that you care about them and that you can drive that loyalty back into your shop. From things like when you're producing a new product, potentially something like, a kitchen utensil, adding a flashlight or adding a measurement on that utensil so that it's something extra which your customer would really appreciate in certain circumstances, but they would never think that you'd actually introduce. All those little elements of surprising and delighting your customer will leave you as a brand and you as a business top of mind when it's time to purchase again. Oh, hey, if you're enjoying this content, be sure to be that good girl and guy and hit like on this video and ensure you share and subscribe to the channel. Thank you. Now back to you. And finally, back to what we mentioned about price. We've all seen this massive price blurted out across all social media and everywhere else that's talking about WWDC. $3,500 for this new product. When you look at the price point, you think to yourself, wow, that's massive. And it really is, don't get me wrong. But as Apple said, there's a few ways of looking at this. One is, as Apple clearly did themselves, they've kind of tried to break it down and say, well, this is a media consumption device. It replaces your computer, your phone potentially, your TV, your in-home entertainment, which could cost you around either the same price or a bit more, all in the one device. It's a no-brainer. But we all know that's not true. We all have computers at home, we have phones, we have TVs. So this is not really going to replace anything. Nor does anybody want to go and spend $3,500 just to get this new device. Well, not nobody. And here's the point. Apple knows there are 2 clear types of customers that will go out and purchase this product. Number one, as we've talked about on this channel before, there are Apple evangelists. Those who are die-hard Apple fans that will stand in line to ensure that they're first in line to get this product. And you know what? Apple loves these people because they're true to the brand and want to make sure that any product that has the Apple name associated with it is the best in its category. And just like Apple being introducing this product that I believe is a new category, these Apple evangelists will provide the feedback, things which worked, things which didn't work, what they loved, what they didn't love, to Apple directly, be it via social media, be it via email direct to Apple, or just their comments generally. Apple will hear this, and that will help us in the long run. But there's a second type of category, and that is people like us, and that is tech reviewers, people who are really into tech, who want the latest and greatest. And again, just like their evangelists, these types of people will provide the right feedback to Apple to create a second gen, a third gen, a fourth gen, so that in 2, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we don't have these bulky, massive things on our head that only last 2 hours or need to be plugged in. We instead have something more akin to glasses, sunglasses that are easy to wear and can be used more easily around the house, and you don't look like you have these snorkeling goggles on you 24/7. Just the interactive part of it. Yes, Apple have created a screen so it looks like you can see the user's eyes, but it's still weird. It's still dystopic. You need to get to something like this or even smaller so that people feel more comfortable. And so therefore, price is huge. It's not just something that people use to differentiate in this case. Apple has used it purposefully so that it knows that the types of customers who buy this product will give them the feedback that they are off. So what does it mean for us? Well, really, it's not about pricing in this instance for us in our businesses, but more about ensuring that we're consistently getting feedback from our customers to iterate, make better products, make new products, and make things that we know that our customers or our potential consumers will want to buy. And so all in all, when you think about it, Apple created this massive hype, this huge event, something which everybody wanted to be at. They introduced a product, so they delivered on what they said they would deliver on, and they got every single news outlet, tech reviewer talking about these new devices and their event more broadly. And that's exactly what Apple wanted, so they executed on what they had designed to a T. I hope you learned something, and if you've enjoyed this content, be that cool guy or girl, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you back here soon. And as always, do that extra good little deed to bring a little light in the world. Until next time.